stood outside this 2-bedroom house which we're converting into a 4-bedroom HMO for students. I'm going to take you inside and show you what to look out for when you're doing the refurbishment, also on the viewings as well. Straight away, if you look from the front outwards, on these old Victorian buildings, you've got to look around these bottom parts here, see how this is done, just for signs of damp, because if we can see on that building there, sometimes just that paintwork, the way they paint them, will cause more damp because you can't breathe. This is old lime mortar in these bricks, and again, if you look, some of them, I can't see one on this street, sometimes they are been repointed with sand and cement, causes breathing problems. Why isn't damp is probably a bit of a myth as far as I'm understanding, but these properties do have damp issues. Look at this one, you look at the windows, the roof line. If we go further back across the road here, make sure I don't leave one over. When I start my viewings, I'm looking at these properties and you just want to look upwards, go up and come all the way back down again. So you can see there's a bit of sag in that roof. That roof is definitely going to need attention at one point or another. What I would do with this, just for a client by the way, but what I would do with this, I'd create cash flow, and from the cash flow I would sort the roof. I wouldn't do that at the first round of refurbishment. You look at all the different pointings, look where the guttering lines are, just look for points where you think that penetration could come through, especially on these old Victorian buildings. Windows are fine, but as I said, that roof definitely needs some attention at one point. There's no signs of leak. That's something we'll do at a later date. Front door needs changing. But as we come in, the design of these is where these are two bedrooms, so 2 reception rooms, kitchen and bathroom downstairs, 2 rooms upstairs. What we do with these, where we're making them all en suite, you can use the kitchen and bathroom area out the back here as a communal. I'm not sure what the team's doing with this one, but probably knock this wall out, have this one big communal area all the way through. One of the things you have to majorly look out for when doing all en-suite HMOs is where is the soil pipe. On these old Victorians, where there wasn't toilets in them originally, and these are called coal rooms, this particular one, the soil pipe's there where the bathroom was. Ideally, you want it in the corner of, so we go around here. Ideally, you want it in the corner, usually they're around here somewhere where the kitchen's gonna be. If we look at that window, that's there. So that's where we've got to get all the soil pipes to. So from the bedrooms upstairs, it's not so bad because we can drop them through this ceiling here, and you box it along there, and we can drop it through, drop it out, and we can come around the wall and find that point. But also, we're gonna be digging it up for these ones, so we've not got to find our way over there. These en-suites, we're gonna dig a channel from that bedroom through to here, and a channel out the back through to pick up the soil. These are little things you've got to look out for, especially on the ground floor, the concrete floor, digging it up, so it's obviously more of an expense. Always take out the chimney breasts to create more space in these as well. Probably like a 2K job for most people, depends what builders you've got. But in these, you've got to think about your design before you start laying these out. You always have to do pretty much a rewire and a reconfiguration of your plumbing, especially if you're going to go all en-suite. You've got to think, where is the bed going to go? Is the bed going to go here? Where's the wardrobe going to go? You can have like a good little tip for these, especially student ones. You can have these shelves with that rails underneath it, so you can then hang clothes on it, and not, it's cheaper than a wardrobe and it takes up less space in the room. But think about your spacing, and students as well, they're going to want a desk probably. So students are happy to have single beds. You can imagine a lot of these are probably just moving out from their home with their mum and dad and probably had a single bed or queen size bed. So the size of the bed's not so important for the student market as it is for the professional market. But just think where the configuration is going to go of the furniture, then you can think, ideally, let's have some plugs. Ideally, like if the bed's here, let's have a light socket switch there and maybe a little hanging down light, because we've got to reconfigure the wiring anyway. It's not a major extra spend, but it's a really nice little touch on it. Points of hardwired Wi-Fi. So again, when you rewire and the walls are channeled out, you might as well put hardwired Wi-Fi connections in there so they can plug it in and get faster speed Wi-Fi. These things are important, obviously, for students and for any co-living sort of spaces. You've got to figure out where's the radiator going to go. So if I've got the bed here, make sure you don't put the bed and wardrobe and drawers where a radiator is going to be. Make sure you pre-design that out for both rooms. In here, same again. Just design where your bed's going to go, design where the furniture's going to go, then you can then pick where the radiators go, and you can massively manipulate this on these style ones because you go so far back to brick on them. Let's go upstairs. So en-suites in these ones are a bit easier because you can take the soil pipes down and underneath them. The reality is where we're going to dig a channel, I'm not spoken to the team, but we'll probably just go straight down into that channel that's going out to the back anyway. But if you wasn't doing that with a channel going straight down, you can loop it underneath and box it in on the ceiling down the bottom. So we've got to get all the way over to that back part over there. So again, this room's quite large. My suggestion is I put a little kitchenette area in this one as well. They do rent for more money, drives the rent up, makes them feel better. So Lod's got a sink in it, cupboards in now. It counts as your cupboard space and worktop space. So you have to have a certain amount of worktop space per, I think it's 1.5 metres per tenant in the property. If you've got a sink in the bedroom, if there's no sink in the bedroom, and there's, because I've put, in HMOs before, I've put worktops in there and cupboards, but the HMO officer doesn't allow that because there's no sink with it. So make sure it's got sink with it. But if you're plumbing in an ensuite anyway, it's quite easy to get that sink in there, and it forces the price up of the rooms. Definitely worth including. A little tip with these, where it's 4-bedroom, you don't need a license. It's only 5-bedroom above, you need a license, but you do want to get the council involved. Get the council out beforehand, get the HMO officer out, get the building control out, ask them their advice. Just having them on side makes life much easier, because if neighbours, as soon as they hear HMOs, whether it's students or normal HMOs, they think problems. What you want to do is get them on side from day one and get their advice, and they'll just tell you, you need this here, you need that in there. Standard things like fire doors you're going to need in these. Because it's a 4-bedroom, you only need a hardwired alarm, you don't need the big board on there. It's only when you go above 6 bedrooms you need the grade A fire alarm system. So as long as they're internally linked fire alarm and heat system, that's fine, but you need them in each room. But again, this gets done at the rewire sort of stage where you're stripping these so far backwards. Yeah. So when you're looking at these properties and you're doing these viewings, the size you've got to look for. So for me, I'm looking at the roof, it's in a bit of trouble. The roof is in a bit of trouble. So you're going to look for signs of damp along these places. Look, when you're coming in here, look where it's laid out, where this is getting ripped back. Again, skirting board doesn't matter because you put all your new skirting board on. But just look, see what your windows are like. Always like check, look, so handles are a really, really big thing what we have problems with, and you just often forget to check them, and it's something that tenant will move in, phone up about straight afterwards as well. But yeah, just look at along the lines for damp. It's only penetration damp if it's on the first floor, and it's a lot easier to solve when it's on the ground floor. If it's on the ground floor, it's always an issue with, it's always a breathable issue, and the first thing I do with a lot of damp is put a PIV system in. In the en-suites in these, what you want to put in them is constant flow extractor fans. Don't put the ones that come on and off with the lights. Put the ones that are humidity is stat on them, so when the humidity just comes in, it kicks on, it speeds up and slows down. Because people turn them off, or in the summer if it's quite light, they won't use them. So in these properties, big issue you'll get often is damp, and a lot of properties is damp. And anytime you get damp specialists out, and I don't believe it's on purpose, it's their education. They say it is rising damp. And what they tell you to do, they go up 1.5 metres, they take it back to brick, they inject it. That does mask it, but it just masks the problem. It's a breathable problem. It's often the pointing. Like we come out here, we can see this pointing might be some sand and cement pointing over the top of that. Any signs of damp, the first thing I'll be looking at is that pointing. Again, it could be painted with non-breathable paint. Often as well, like you look in these yards out here as well, often these yards where the concrete will go higher, they collect damp, so it's a drainage sort of problem. Sometimes it's under the window sills, they've not got the ridge under them. So you've got to look at these things first and get it breathing, and that's why I look at PIV systems when I've got damp in the property. It's really a prevention thing, it keeps on top of it. About £800 to install, but doing a damp proof course is minimum £2,000. That's not including having to repaint, do your skirting and all these other things. They work really, really well, and sometimes you might have to put 2 in, but they do work really well, keeping the house breathing. But it's always a breathable problem, not the rising damp. I've done probably about 10 damp proof courses in my time, and I wish I'd never done them now. Now I'm looking at this and getting the houses breathing. The Dutch don't use damp proof courses. When I was researching this, they say the Dutch laugh at the UK. The Dutch is reclaimed land, and it's flat land, and it had massive damp issues because of it being so flat. That's why they've got so many dikes and canals built, just to keep control of the dampness. Building on land that really, really suffers from damp, they have no damp proof courses. They build little cavities between them and things like that. They laugh at the British saying, you don't need it. You need to get the houses out more breathable. Get some of these damp in your properties, make sure you look at other solutions before you look at a damp proof course. Just to wrap this up, the main things you want to look at with these HMOs is the configuration of your soil pipe, where you're going to get that soil pipe out. You don't really want to use the sunny flows, there's constant problems. Also got to look at the design of where you're going to lay the furniture out first of all. Think about where your electrics and everything's going to go off the back of that, getting it up to regulation with fire doors and fire alarm systems. So they're the main bullet points behind what we just discussed. And any damp problems, look to see, get the building breathing again as opposed to going straight in with damp proof courses.